Hello, everybody. You are watching Unpopular Reviews Entertainment Edition. Today, we're talking about the next episode. As far as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is concerned, we're halfway there. Did Avengers 2 live up to the same expectations as Avengers 1? Find out our opinions coming up right. Hello again, everybody. I am the executive consultant of Unpopular Reviews, Chris Harris, and I am so pleased to be here tonight after missing an episode. I feel like it's been 4 weeks. Mr. Lovebirds on Tuesday. Go ahead and follow us on Unpopular Reviews, and you can see that episode. Great.
Do you want to show your love for the UPR universe, or do you just want to show your love for
Who in the bluest of blue hells muted me? I feel so wrong. I feel so disrespected. It got me out of my groove. Let's bring on the Mark to ask you, did you mute me, or am I going to hear a Shaggy song again?
No, I kind of dropped something on my keyboard and it muted you. Sorry about that.
Oh my gosh, it's like I'm in high school again, being disrespected. All right, fine. Let's go ahead and bring on another co-host, See the Superior. I knew it wasn't her because she has not said exactly.
It's never me. I'm the good one. I'm the good one. It's not me ever.
If you are the good one, Vic is the good one. Let's go ahead and bring the bad one on. Apparently, he went and got a fake dental degree. It's none other than ZDS James Best. See what I did there? James, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right. It wasn't me because I have no admin control over this thing, even though I've been.
What's going on, Katrina? You have no admin control because you haven't taken the time to hit me like I've been told you.
Oh, okay.
For weeks. You know what? It makes zero damn sense why you have not done that yet. You have plenty of time to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, this is a controversial one. A lot of people love this movie. A lot of people hate it. You'll see where the four of us start after this, and we'll see how you all, the Hammenager, likes this movie as we go ahead and we review it. So, further ado, James, hey, you lost a coin flip, two-headed coin flip for four people. So you lead.
Well, actually, I think I'm the one who wins because this was one of my favorite MCU films. It was incredible. Yeah. I'm just kidding. So 3 years.
I agree with you, James.
No, I was joking. This movie is terrible, but we'll get to it. It's an opera, right? Of Age of Ultron. 3 years have passed since the first Avengers movie, since the first team-up film. And this movie actually takes place a little bit after Winter Soldier. If you remember, after that one, S.H.I.E.L.D. is disbanded. They were infiltrated by Hydra. So you have the different S.H.I.E.L.D. locations, remote locations around the world that are actually been infiltrated by Hydra. So the movie opens up and we see the Avengers, and they're at one of the last strongholds of Hydra. And at this stronghold is run by Baron von Strucker, and he actually has Loki's staff, okay? And so they're trying to track that down. And they get the staff, and we are introduced to the Maximoff twins, one of whom is Wanda, and she can manipulate reality.
And she has an accent.
Yes.
One of me.
She can. I'm laughing because Chris is beating me to the punch. So she can manipulate reality, and she actually uses the team's fears against them. And it's Tony Stark's fear that actually lead him to continuing to develop his Ultron initiative, which is to be a failsafe so that the world is protected from alien threats or threats that the Avengers themselves are not good enough. And Ultron becomes sentient, and the team must band together after feeling betrayed by Tony's silence of what he was doing, and come together to defeat Ultron. Okay, and basically that is Ultron.
Well, when we said let's do synopsis instead of blow by blow, you weren't kidding, right?
That's essentially what happens. Wanda uses their fears against them, right? And we see Tony's fear. Tony's fear is that the Avengers will be destroyed by an alien threat, and so that leads him to create or finish creating the Ultron initiative. Ultron becomes sentient, and the team has to band together after becoming disunified with Tony's betrayal. and they have to band together to defeat Ultron. That's essentially the movie.
Yes, that's pretty. That's definitely a synopsis.
But you left out Jarvis.
Right, you left out Jarvis. Good, thank you. Left out Vision. There's a lot of points you left out.
I didn't say I wanted to give spoilers, but I'm just saying that's the synopsis of the movie. If you want me to give beat by beat, I can tell you beat by beat.
I want beat by beat, but I don't want blow by blow. You know what I'm saying? I want
I don't know where you're
going.
I
want cliff notes, broski. I want cliff notes. What happened?
I gave you cliff notes. If you go to Blockbuster and you read the back of the box is not going to say everything that you want to do. Okay, that's exactly what I said. Fine. First, I want you to know that Jarvis was seemingly destroyed, even though that's a spoiler. Was seemingly destroyed. Jarvis was hiding undercover, according to Tony, and because
how.
We'll get to that later because right now this is the synopsis according to Chris. Jarvis was hiding his consciousness to Ultron, who, even though when he first shows up, he demolishes Jarvis, and Jarvis is destroyed, except he's not because the script says he's not. And Ultron uses a special dermal regenerator. I mean, this is in Star Trek, but he uses a dermal regenerator to create the Vision body. That's what it is. To create the Vision body, and he's halfway uploaded, but because Jarvis is so strong and they cut the interface early, Jarvis, with the power of the Mind Stone, takes over and he becomes the Vision. And the Vision is the most powerful Avenger, except he's not, because Wanda Maximoff has powers that we never see her use again except in this movie, and she doesn't even use it against Ultron, which could have ended this movie in 30 minutes. Okay? What other synopsis points would you like me to cover? Because that's the movie, okay? The team bands together, they go to Sokovia, and they stop Ultron from destroying the world, which he thinks is by bringing peace, by destroying all of mankind, because mankind are warmongers, right? That's the synopsis.
Well, yes. Okay, so one thing that I did enjoy about the movie when I first turned it on was the opening scene. Like, the opening scene was probably one of the best things about the movie, how they were trying to get into the Hydra, I guess, what's that, the base, and how they were all kind of like fighting together in the snow. I don't know, like the way it was shot looked really cool to me. It was like really action packed. I liked that about the movie, and it was kind of downhill from there. A couple things that I did not enjoy was the rushed love interest suddenly between Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow. And
that wasn't rushed. And I have to.
How was that not rushed?
I told you after the first Avengers when they were doing, that dominatrix type of foreplay in the first one where, he was tearing up stuff chasing after Black Widow.
Oh, that.
I said he gave her that backhand and stuff like that. That was.
Oh wow, like, very sexy and romantic.
It was for Black Widow. Black Widow loved it.
No,
yeah, it was. Black Widow
was hooked on Jolly Green Giant after that. She didn't even care.
That's true. Chris, I'll give you credit. And this is one of my big points. Not to cut Chrissy off. Chris, please continue. But this is my big. They treat the women in this movie like shit.
Yeah.
This is I'm dead serious. And this is exactly one of the problems that I brought up when I talked about how they shot Black Widow in the first one. They treat her just as in the first Avengers. They treat her just as some sex pot, right? Instead of an intelligent woman. Whereas Clinton Barton, if you notice, both of them are spies, but Clinton Barton actually, this is his only real movie. Any other one, he's just like a background character that has lines, throughout the movie.
That's not true at all.
That's very true.
That's very true.
In Avengers Endgame, he had a whole 5-minute scene where it was just about him. And hold on. Can I whoa.
You said he had 5 minutes? How many minutes?
He had 5 minutes, and the whole opening scene was about him practically.
Okay, my question to you is, how long was Avengers Endgame? And how 3
hours?
And he got 5 minutes out of a 3-hour film. I read like.
But look at the ensemble cast, man. Look at the ensemble cast, and actually, if you count his battle that he had with Black Widow, and granted, Black Widow didn't fall in love with him after. I guess she wasn't strong enough to beat her around. Oh, that's right, because she actually beat him. That's why she didn't fall in love with him. You know, Black Widow needs somebody to beat her in order for her to be happy and then want some of the green dick. But look, here's what I'm saying.
According to Marvel, I guess. But again, that movie has not come up yet. This is Avengers 2, and this is the most screen time he's ever had in his life.
Let me ask you a question. Would you give him screen time? I mean, his
character. I think he has a very compelling story. Like you get to learn a little bit more about him. About, you know, later when he reveals that he kind of has a family and how he wanted to keep that separate from his, you know, SHIELD life, and how he knows I think close to the end of the movie, he was talking to Wanda about the responsibility of the mission and how he knows he's outmatched, but it's his job to be there. He's there with a bow and arrow fighting against, you know, robots in the sky, but he's still there because that's his mission. So I feel like there's a material to work with him, but they don't like cultivate it. They don't nurture it to make him into like a full character.
Hold up, because I see my friend is just trying to troll me right now, and you're not going to come on my show and then troll me, okay?
It is Keith.
No. What you're not going to do is you're not going to finally show your ass up, okay? You tall motherfucker. You're not going to finally show your ass up and then insult me.
Very correct.
No. You need to go back to the Navy. Don't do that. Chrissy, will you be my manager for the promo battle? Chrissy doesn't watch wrestling, so no.
I don't watch wrestling.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Chrissy. I'm sorry. We're so rudely interrupted by the only person I know taller than me.
So that I feel like, you know, if he was given like more of a chance, like he could have, I don't know. But anyway, but interestingly enough, there was a poll done about who was the favorite Avenger like ever. So who do you guys think is like the favorite Avenger out of all of them? And who's the least favorite?
Captain America.
Favorite Avengers has to be Iron Man. The least favorite is probably Quicksilver. What you got?
Oh, what do you think, Vic?
I didn't like the gay part well.
No, who do you think is the like polled as the favorite Avenger?
You say you didn't like the gay part?
Well, see, no.
Are we back on Captain America?
I was going to say Hulk. I was going to say Hulk. But the thing about it is just that, like, at the end of the movie when he runs away, because Black Widow is just open. I mean, open, ready to just run away with him. And he runs away and, like, turns off the thing. So I didn't really like that part about him. But
Vic, I'm sorry.
To answer the question is Hulk.
Hulk. Okay, what about you, James?
Wait, I'm sorry. Who ran away?
The Hulk ran away.
Oh, okay. The favorite Avenger, for people, I'd say Captain America.
All right. So you and Chris were kind of correct. So they tied actually. So Iron Man and Captain America tied at 53%, naming them as their favorite Avenger. Then a close second is Thor at 50%. And then it drops dramatically to Hulk at 23%, and Black Widow at 18%, and Hawkeye at 13%.
So you mean to tell me that people really like Thor? I don't understand. Did they see the movies?
Thor is gorgeous. That's why people like Thor. He's hot. That's why people like Thor. And he's powerful. Hot and powerful. People like him.
See, I thought Iron Man was going to do way better than that.
Yeah, but some people like Captain America, like the LGBTQ community are big fans.
I like Captain America. Originally he wasn't my favorite, but when I watched Winter Soldier and got to know him a little bit better, you saw how
sensitive he is
my
and
favorite
how much
thing
advice from people he loves.
He's a good man. He's a good man.
He is a good man.
He's a good man that likes. He's a good man that likes a few good men.
No, my favorite line was like, "If you die, walk it off." Like that was really fun. I
and his speeches are just out of the park. Like he can definitely give like a little warm up or a speech before the war, and people like want to get behind him. That's why he's the leader. And Tony
Cap is the old man.
The brain.
Cap is the old man in the group.
I thought Captain America was the leader because he's the only one with actual experience on the battlefield. Like
that too. Besides, but Thor definitely has more experience than Captain.
No, he doesn't. Thor comes in. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Thor has been around for thousands of years.
A bunch of wars
Let me ask you a question. Okay, let's just be real. All right, how many battles did we see Thor in all his movies where he comes in at the last minute and throws a hammer?
But the point is, who has more battlefield experience? Thor is a god, thousands of years old, who fights.
Yeah, in the first
movie, he was drunk for most of them. So no, I can't.
Being drunk does not negate the fact that he has more battlefield experience.
Why are you always defending these lowlifes? Okay, Thor shows his those shorts his true colors in Avengers Endgame. And when we talk about Avengers Endgame, we'll figure out what I'm talking about that. But that's when Thor shows his true colors. And this is the guy you want leading the battle. Didn't even go through for the head.
Like, as far as being
as a man, he should have went for the head.
He has more experience, but Cap definitely has more leadership qualities. I would say I would feel maybe more comfortable or more at ease going in with Captain America, even though he's not as powerful than as opposed to Thor, who really doesn't, lead by example. He's just powerful. That's why he's good to go into war with, but he's not necessarily strategic or anything else. But anyway. But he is America's second favorite or third favorite, tied for second place after Captain America and Iron Man. But another issue that I had with the movie, besides the fact the movie was made. Besides the fact that the twins or whatever they're, Wanda and the other guy.
We don't need to know his name.
Yeah, we don't know his name.
The bullets didn't know his name when they shot him, so we don't need to know his name either.
Because he definitely had like very few scenes, and I understand why, because he had the worst accent out of the two of them. Like, her accent was horrible, but his accent was disgusting. Like, at least she tried a little, like you can hear like she was trying to get some kind of like something. But him, it sounded like, because he's British in real life, so it sounded like he was trying to do an American accent, like an American trying to do like a European accent. It was just all over the place. And I feel maybe that kind of affected how many lines he was given in the movie, because nobody wanted to hear that.
That's true. And his accents were terrible.
His accents were horrible, and hers were horrible as well. Like, sometimes the accent was there, sometimes it wasn't there, sometimes it was a British accent, sometimes it was an American accent. And I didn't enjoy that part of the movie, much like, a lot of people. And what do you guys think?
Can I pick up where Chrissy just left off at?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have minded their accents so much if the movie made more sense. Here's what I mean. You have the opening of this movie, as we just said, it starts off in a fierce battle, and they're trying to break into this Hydra stronghold, right? And they're shooting weapons powered by, I presume, the Tesseract that they learned how to make before, and or some other alien-inspired technology. Nobody gets hit by anything. No one, until Barton, Hawkeye, takes his eye off of the plasma cannon or whatever that is to look at the speedster Quicksilver. But nobody else. I've never known a war where no soldier ever gets hit. Whatever. Aside from that, you have in this opening scene, right, where everybody's making jokes and it's so dangerous and the threat is so real, but everybody is joking around.
Mm-hmm.
Where do they do that at? Where do they do that at?
Marvel.
Thor Ragnarok. We'll talk about that. Thor Ragnarok.
Then you have Thor, who again hits Captain America's shield, which is made out of vibranium. Now, as far as I understand, vibranium stops the inertia of an object moving at it. We know that because the movie said it in the first Captain America. Then in Black Panther, his suit, whenever he gets hit, the objects just fall. They did that in Civil War. They did that in Black Panther. But somehow when Captain America holds the shield, it can shoot concussive waves at enemies. Hawkeye can throw Captain America's shield, even though Captain America is supposed to be trained how to throw it like that. Captain America can take a hit from someone who arguably is the strongest Avenger, can hit his shield with a hammer, and he doesn't even push back. But Bucky, his bestest friend, was blown out of the train because he couldn't take the blast from an old Hydra weapon.
That doesn't make
but
sense.
Captain America can take the blast of that. Black Widow can take the blast from the shield. Thank you. 0 cents. What's going on with the rules? Wanda Maximoff. We talk about the accents. Forget the accents. How does a speedster get hit with bullets? I'll tell you why. Because they wanted something ironic. But instead of it being ironic, it makes it look stupid. The character literally was faster than a speeding locomotive.
I'm sad that they killed him off.
I'm not sad because he did nothing in the movie, but he was faster than a speeding locomotive, and we know that he was fast enough because the weight of the car, he was able to outdo the weight of the car because his inertia was such that he could lift the car, the weight of the car. That's at least a ton. At least a ton. So we're talking he was able to lift 2,000 pounds because he was moving that fast, okay? Yet he couldn't, the bullets were still faster than him. These aren't the plasma bullets that he was out running in the beginning of the movie. These are regular lead bullets.
This is why I don't understand. How come he just didn't push Hawkeye and the kid out the way when he was running? Like, why did he think, I'll just run in front of the bullets and take the bullets to my body?
Because irony and Joss Whedon likes to make comedy jokes throughout his movie. Wanda Maximoff, just like I said about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, right? When you have him and the whole movie is about his genetics and genes and how he's the only one with the celestial gene, right? Yet and still, because Thanos is coming, they need to get rid of those powers that Star-Lord has, right? In this one, Wanda Maximoff literally can manipulate people's minds. Why didn't she do that to Thanos? I know that's not this movie, but she could have done that immediately. She could have we know that she could rip apart Thanos. Why didn't she rip apart?
And if what's her name can do it, what's that girl's name? Centipede or whatever. You know who I'm talking about with the from.
I don't know who Centipede is.
From Guardians of the Galaxy. Her name Mantis. That's her name.
Oh, okay.
So Mantis. You know who I'm talking about. It had to come to me.
Centipede, because Centipede and Mantis is the same damn insect. So.
Look, it's an insect. So if she could like make Thanos go to sleep for however long she did, then what's her name? Witch should have been able to do the same thing.
Scarlet Witch. What's her name? Witch.
Witch. Oh
so,
man,
the movie plays fast and loose with its own logic. And I really don't like that. In this movie, the whole movie, this should be Doctor Strange the prequel, because everybody performs magic. Everybody performs magic. Everybody can do everything. Yeah, you have Ultron who comes alive after 40. You're telling me Tony Stark can create AI in less than 48 hours? This is what I talked about. When they don't show the legwork, it makes it seem like the character is magical, and it takes away from the genius of the character. Whereas Rocket Raccoon, they show the legwork, right? In this one, him and Banner create AI in 48 hours.
Yeah.
In 48 hours.
I mean, he already had AI with Jarvis. So they had a little bit of a head start. Plus, did you see the tech in there? Did you see the tech in there? Did you see?
I'm agreeing with Vic on this one. They already had artificial intelligence. Now I know what you're saying, James, and I agree. Jarvis was artificial intelligence. Everybody was Jarvis.
To the extent of Ultron, they did not have.
Correct. You are right. Correct. You are correct. You are correct. But I'm saying, to a certain extent, listen to the Mark. He's making it make sense. And you know that's important. He's making it make sense. Go ahead, Mark.
See, to the extent of Ultron, but at the end of the day, if you have all the parts and you have everything that you need, and all you need to do is just upgrade, how much time do you really need?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, what it really was just programming software. Programming the exact same software that you have just to make it do a little bit more. So
but didn't he take that
they had the ability to do that.
Here's why I disagree with that. Because the way the movie posits it, they've been working on that for years, and they kept running into dead ends. Even though they had the leg start of a semi or whatever kind of AI you want to say Jarvis was, or even what is it, Friday, right? So they still were not able to make AI to the level of Ultron. Okay, so that's why. So that
makes even more sense. So you have a whole bunch of failures, and and every single time, every failure is a lesson. So you have a whole bunch of failures. So then you know exactly what you did wrong. So then when you're gonna go do it right, and you get a little light bulb, and then you're just gonna jump on that light bulb and focus on that. It's kind of like when Tony Stark went to Flushing Meadow Park over here and took the panorama, and then ended up making his whole chest thing. You know what I'm saying?
Then if you're right, then let me ask you this: what is the breakthrough that they got that they created Ultron? That's my question. If every failure is a lesson, I know why you're saying that, and I agree with that statement, that sentiment, right? In this movie, show me where they learned from their mistake that they create AI. They did not know they created Ultron. They just magically created Ultron. Do you see my point?
Well, no, but wait, it's kind of like, you know, the way I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, because the thing about it is just that, like, Ultron. You see, the way that I understood it was just like Ultron created himself, because the software was there, right, and the AI was there. It's just that Ultron pretty much just took over. Because from the beginning, you could see that Jarvis is like, "Hey, what are you doing?" When Jarvis is trying to, like, you know, basically Jarvis is trying to guide him from the very beginning as to what to do and what's going on and all of this. But it looks like Ultron had a mind of his own, and then just did the Johnny Five, did a whole bunch of input, figured stuff out for himself, and then, you know, decided to be the evil Tony Stark.
Does anybody know who voices Ultron? Who
James
voices
Spader.
Ultron?
Oh, James Spader, don't do that. Don't do that. Oh man,
Don't ask that question.
When I found out that James Spader, who is one of my favorite actors, was going to voice Ultron, I knew this movie was supposed to be must see, because he is phenomenal. And much like Joss Whedon said that this was his only choice to play Ultron, I completely agree. There's a lot of perfect casting, I think, that comic books do now. Sir Patrick Stewart is Professor Xavier. I still think Viola Davis cast as what's her name? Yes, was one of the, you know, most spot on cast, even though people, you know, love and hate that movie, but she was a very good Viola Davis. You know, Sir Ian McKellen as Magneto. The list goes on. Tony Stark, you know, clearly Robert Downey Jr. But he is exactly the voice you would think needs to be for Ultron, and it just sucks. It was wasted.
Hold on. Speaking about that, now, not to jump off topic, but I just want to ask you something real quick. There's been a ton of rumors about Beyonce in the MCU.
That's been they found out that was false.
Word? Okay.
Yeah. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, that's already been proven.
Talks for like the soundtrack. Possibly.
Yeah, the soundtrack. The soundtrack is good. The soundtrack. That's a good idea for Beyonce. But yeah, I love Beyonce. But Harry Potter. I mean, Austin Powers 2 was whack. Goldmember.
Part 3.
Oh yeah,
Part
Goldmember. Yeah, Part 3.
It wasn't whack. It just wasn't as good as the first two.
Yeah,
facts.
I say it's a solid movie, but Beyonce can't read, so that's why I say no for her. In
What?
To all of our Beehive fans,
what you mean Beyonce can't read?
We apologize.
Don't even read it. Just let it be.
We apologize for his comment.
I said it. Let me stand by it.
But about Ultron,
let me stand by it. You had a question, and let me clarify what I mean by that. What I mean is this: when she says her lines, right, or even let's use when she was Nala in The Lion King, she sounds like she's reading it from the script as opposed to, hey, I've memorized these lines. It sounds like she's learning the words for the first time. It sounds like she can't read. Even in that, what is it? Girls, the way she recites her lines is as if she's literally reading them right then.
I see what you mean. She doesn't know how.
That's why it sounds like she can't read it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it sounds like she something about it. I don't know what it is, but it comes off like she can't read, like she's struggling to memorize the words or something. I don't know her personally. It's not a personal shot.
Okay.
I don't know.
When you said that, you made it sound like she's illiterate.
No, I'm just saying that's what it's. That's why I said let me clarify. But people shouldn't be offended by that unless y'all are related to her. Or something.
Who should have been Ultron? Who should have been Ultron? And if you say a wrestler, I swear I won't move any more of your comments up. It should have been James Spader and James Spader only. That's the reason why that trailer.
The voice was great, but the personality, I don't understand why he was cracking jokes.
That's my problem. That's exactly what my problem was with that. He should have been cold. He should have been calculating. He should have been on point as Ultron. Instead, I got a jokester.
Yeah.
Vision should have been. Would have been. But you know what though? Here's the thing though. One thing that I do understand about that is because Ultron is kind of like Tony Stark's dark side.
His dark side or him?
Yeah, Ultron is like a representation of Tony Stark's.
Listen how James worded that question.
And the reason why I say that is because in the beginning, I think it's this part. No, it's not this part. When they're cutting wood, And Tony Stark is all like, "Hey, no, I don't trust a guy without a dark side." And also later on in the movie, when Ultron cut somebody's hand off, I forgot who it was.
Claw.
Yeah, he gets all upset for being compared to Tony Stark. When they have very similar lines, they he says the exact same thing that he heard from Tony Stark. And the other reason why I like this is because yes, that villain from Wakanda, that's the first time I ever saw him. Like, and I think that's I think that's where he was introduced.
Vic, maybe you sound like you know more than me.
Huh?
You sound like you know more about this Ulysses Claw than I do. Can you explain something to me? When he got his forearm chopped off, how come he didn't bleed to death?
Here we go. I knew that was coming.
Word up.
I would have been okay with it, but so I can't completely fault you on that one, Ricky. But no, James Spader was the best. What's going on, Charmaine? I liked how Ultron was. He was a bratty kid, but I don't feel like he should have been a bratty kid. That's like so. Ultron's counterpart in the DC universe. And I want to talk about that in a second, but the counterpart of Ultron in the DC universe is actually Brainiac. Brainiac will never be a bratty kid. And that's why Brainiac will be a little bit better Ultron. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Unpopular Reviews. We're reviewing Avengers Age of Ultron. We're going to take a small commercial break. And when we come back, we'll get more into what we are saying right here.
Thank you for watching this edition of the Unpopular Review. If you like what you're watching, please subscribe to us on our social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at UPRYEPILW. Also, while you're at it, subscribe to our friends at Yep I Like Wrestling on the same social medias at YEPILW. Yep.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Executive Consultant C Disappears, ZDS and the Mark here. That's right, on Wednesday. It's going to be Unpopular Reviews Entertainment Edition, where we will talk about Get Out. A nice follow-up to the Lovebirds, if I think, from one extreme to the other, but that's what we're going to talk about coming up this week. And let's talk about it. Tony Stark. Was his personality in Ultron? Yes, that was actually supposed to be the premise of it to a certain extent, even though in the comics he was created by Ant-Man, which I know a lot of people want to talk about because that was very profound, that Ant-Man was the one that created Ultron. In this one, it was a combination of Tony Stark as well as Bruce Banner, who played the I'm a dumb idiot sidekick to Tony Stark here, which kind of makes Tony Stark the quintessential villain. What are your thoughts and opinions when it comes to Tony Stark creating Ultron? And we'll start with you, Mr. ZDS.
Let me just go back. Somebody said that Ultron was a bratty kid. And I think because, again, a lot of Ultron's personality is based off of Tony Stark. And in the MCU, Tony Stark is a bratty kid. So I think that's why maybe his character acted the way it did. Ultron's character acted the way it did rather than the cold.
To Mr. Johnson's point right here.
So I'm sorry, Chris, can you repeat your question one more time for me? Because I just
what do you think? Do you think Tony Stark was more of an antagonist in this movie simply because of the fact that because he was trying to play God for the sixth time in the cinematic universe, Ultron was created, which caused all these deaths, which we'll later talk about more when we get into Captain America, Avengers 2.5, Captain America Civil War.
Yeah, I got you. I think that the last few films that we've seen Tony Stark, he is a smart idiot. And what do I mean by that? Because he constantly does the same thing over and over again, and he never seems to learn or grow. And I had Vic. I'm unsurprised by that, but he never seems to grow, and that stick is getting old. You know what I mean? I like the character to develop, but he treats Pepper like shit. He's a womanizer. Oh, and the next one, what does he do? He does it more and more scenes. He does it to other characters. Then we see him again. I flew through a hole in space. I'm scarred. I'm scared, but I'm still a dick. And this one, I'm keeping secrets. That didn't work out in the first one, in the first Avengers. So I'm going to do it again and create something I'm literally trying to create something more powerful than all of us so it can defend the world. And I don't tell anybody. And then I'm shocked when people are upset with me because I'm putting their lives as well as the lives of everybody on the planet at risk. They finally get the android body back. They get he's not Vision yet, but they get Ultron's body back. And he says, hey, Banner, let's finish what we were doing. He literally says, they already think we're mad scientists. We already got it. We almost got it. He acts like a nonsensical child, and I don't get it. Like, is he supposed to be smart? Is he intelligent? How the hell did he run before Pepper took over this multi-billion-dollar company? He acts like a child. It's the stick is old. How would he even be on this team? I hate to keep saying it because y'all laugh at me every time, but it makes zero sense. It's so ridiculous. It's so preposterous. It's beyond.
This is when we first see like dissent in the ranks too, like kind of what was leading up to Civil War, because Tony again wants to go off and do his own thing, and the other members don't agree, and that's when like specifically Captain America doesn't really agree. He's more vocal about it than everyone else, and that's when you kind of see like the tension starting to show its face again, like it was in the first Avengers movie when they were kind of bumping heads. But yeah, I don't think that he makes the best decisions, which is again why he's not the leader. How people want to say, it's Tony's the leader. He's just the financier. He pays for everything, and he's a smart man, but he doesn't make wise decisions as far as being a leader of anything.
What she said in the movie, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, like Steve Jobs.
Vic, you had a rebuttal for Mr. Bess's comment earlier, and I really would have interested in it.
Here's how I see it.
Oh, okay.
Here's how I see it. Here's how I see it. So, Ultron is Tony Stark in between Iron Man 1 and 2. And this is why I say that. Because in Iron Man 1, he was the womanizer, the playboy, the guy that was pretty much just building the iron suit, fought somebody, and then his confidence went through the roof in Iron Man 2. So that guy in Iron Man 2, he's super cocky, thinks that nobody can stop him, and feels like he is the machine that is going to ensure world peace. So this is the mindset that I see Ultron in. After that, after Tony goes through some shit and sees what it's like, to almost lose Pepper in part 3 and put value to that, and then also to build relationships with all of his friends in Avengers, and also to actually see what it would be like to lose them. Now he's in the position where he wants to kind of like shield the entire planet. He's in a position where he wants to do things that could definitely help. He turns his building into the Avengers building from the Stark building, and he's definitely not as so much of a selfish person. Where you kind of just see the difference between, and I feel like Jarvis and Ultron are basically like Tony's two little alter egos, where Jarvis is the good guy and Ultron is the bad guy. So yeah, I mean that's how I see it. I really see Ultron as a representation of Tony Stark's dark side. And the other reason why is because you're literally, another thing, it reminds me a lot of Iron Man 3, because you have all of these suits everywhere. You have, everybody looks like an Iron Man suit, all of them, except for there's the guy. Except for Ultron, that has some like curvy eyes and shit like that.
Ultron
but all
like
of the robots
thing from Thor. Remember that the first Thor movie? Yeah, that's what he looked like to me.
I mean, but no, but the point is just that like it's Tony Stark's technology. He quickly made all of those robots so that he can easily transfer to it. Like the villain is a really good villain in my opinion. It was something that was very difficult. The problem that they had was very difficult to defeat, and all of this was pretty much just breaking up Tony Stark. But more than anything, I feel like they did this to just set up the next movie, to set up Civil War. And that's why everybody says that those two movies should just be fused together. But then at the same time, there's a lot of shit. Like if we didn't see this movie, there's a lot of shit in Endgame that we wouldn't know.
Can I let me just push back slightly, and I'm sorry, Chris, if you want to go, Chris, but I never got from this film that Ultron was cocky. I thought that he was just when I say cold, I mean dispassionate. Let me say dispassionate rather than cold. He was Tony Stark dispassionate, right? Tony Stark wanted to create, he said it several times throughout the movie, wanted to create something that could protect the world, right? So that the world would still be here, right? Ultron, we see at his inception, he said, oh, create world peace. And then he said, well, what are the threats to that peace? And it's mankind with constant war. So everything that Ultron does in order to be able to destroy the planet, right, is in keeping with a dispassionate person who wants to bring world peace. You have to get rid of the people. That's logical. That just makes perfect sense. It had nothing to do with the fact that he hated them. It was just that, you know, you want world peace, but you want everything to stay the same. Well, if it stays the same, it's going to be inevitable that there's going to be another war. I'm doing what you created me to do. The only thing that was like Tony, and so Tony is very much about control. So I think that both of them are the same. To me, it had nothing to do with his dark side. That's literally who Tony Stark is. He wanted to control everything. The only difference is Tony would not want to kill himself, and Ultron knew that, well, all humanity has to be wiped out because you are your own worst enemy. With regard to him wanting an audience, and we see that several times throughout the movie, Ultron wanted people to see what he's doing. That's Tony Stark. He always has to be the spotlight because he's still that child. He has to get that pat on the back, that affirmation that he's doing a good job. Where that comes from, I don't know. As far as it leading into your point,
he didn't get it from his father.
As far as it leading into Civil War, I would agree with that, except here's why I don't. Because Civil War, literally, the only thing that ties it in is the destruction of Sokovia, right? But the whole reason for the dissolution of the team is that Cap wants to protect Bucky, right? And literally, according to the thing that they just agreed to, Cap is breaking the law. And there's a schism in the team. It has nothing to do with the repercussions of Ultron. It literally has to do with, we agreed that we will follow those things. And if you didn't sign that, you can't go around superheroing, right? Cap breaks that, and he tries to help a fugitive because it's his friend. It's nothing to do with Ultron. So I don't think those movies are separate. If this movie never existed, would we miss out on anything? No. So then,
Vision. Because a lot of people would ask, what the hell? How did Vision? Well, how did the Mind Stone come and all of that? With Vision,
but like, even the end of the movie,
and then the Tesseract is gone.
Yeah, but even in the end of the movie, the whole ending scene didn't add up because why was raising that city? Why was raising that up with the intent of dropping it? Such a hard problem to solve for the Avengers when they have like multi-powered, superheroes. Like, how come, Thor didn't just, brace for the fall underneath, or they could have slowed down the descent so it wouldn't have like crashed and created like a whole ripple effect or anything. I feel like it was just kind of rushed. Like they spent so much time for the buildup and not really time to make it make sense in the ending. So yeah, I didn't. Well, we're running up on.
Can we talk about the depiction of women in this movie?
Can we talk about the depiction of who?
Of women in this movie.
The depiction of women in this movie.
When it comes to Romanoff, you got to see a lot more into her past.
Because she was a ballet dancer.
Yeah, because
I didn't like it, even though they did show that her suit kind of had like upgrades, would kind of make more sense of how she's able to fight with everybody. Because you see like the blue highlights or like tech stuff that she had in her suit when she was fighting. I thought that was interesting. That they added that. But I don't understand why, if they had I didn't watch. Okay, keep in mind I haven't watched the whole first Captain America one because I didn't like it. How come they just don't give their SHIELD agent the higher up ones the super soldier serum? Like, how come Hawkeye just doesn't get that to keep up for it?
The scientist who invented the super soldier was killed right after they gave it to Captain America by a Hydra agent.
So they can make AI in 24 hours, so they can't make another fucking super serum.
Say it again, Christy. Say it again. Say it again. Please say it again.
It doesn't make sense. So they're literally risking the lives of all their agents.
They can do anything except the stuff that they actually need.
Yes, and also I was under the impression, because that's what they said in the last movie, that they disbanded SHIELD, and suddenly Shield comes to save the day at the end of this movie? Like how?
Well, yeah, because
thing.
Nick Fury always got something up his sleeve, and like he said, the ship is old and dusty, but she works and all of that. And
but
half
that
of
wasn't
the
even
people
alluded
that
to in the last movie. Like I can see, at the end he had like final scene where he said he's not really getting rid of Shield, so we can kind of have an idea. But the way it's put now, it just looks like it just came out of nowhere, just like a convenient.
But yeah, but no, did you notice the people that were in the ship? It was like at least a half of the people that were in the ship in the other movie. So like it looks like he got those people and banded together. But you know what though? To be honest with you, that makes me want to watch more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because those are things, those are questions that I want answers to. You know,
but even
they're doing what they wanted to do because they want you to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, unfortunately, some people fall into the trap. I did not, but they want you to watch that so you can possibly see what you're talking about. I agree with you. I think Chrissy and James are just hating. I know they did not allude to it in the last movie, but it makes sense.
And the fact that
you have to understand
in the beginning of this movie to say
but
that
you have to understand the kind of character that Nick Fury is, and you see how Nick Fury is throughout the entire. Okay, yes, they're hating. So y'all should say hi hater, but because of that, y'all hating on the fact that Nick Fury is that man, and he knew what he was doing. He has contingency plans for his contingency plans, so he had to set up.
But he didn't even have a contingency plan for Ultron not finding the new codes. They had to rely on freaking Jarvis, who thank God miraculously survived.
He started who's smarter, Nick Fury or Jarvis? Like
Jarvis.
Nick Fury.
Exactly. Jarvis is smarter.
So Jarvis, you know Jarvis is going to Johnny Five that whole situation.
What was his contingency plan for the nuclear codes? Because he already said Nexus,
the Avengers Initiative.
Get up for it. The Avengers Initiative. How? When they that doesn't make
sense. Wait, you know what? Now that you brought up the Nexus, that is something that was so cool. Like I really, really enjoyed seeing the Nexus there.
I did too. Unfortunately, I have a problem with Nexus because it killed William Shatner's James Kirk. But that's another movie.
That's a whole nother thing. But like just the concept of the Nexus of just like the center intelligence agency of the entire internet. Like I just really, really appreciated seeing that. I thought that was cool.
Can I just say this? Without thinking about it, Chris and Vic make a lot of sense. But when I do think about it,
always do.
And let me just give Vic a compliment, please. Vic, your loyalty runs deep, and I want you to share it with me, Chris. You see what I did? That was for you, buddy.
Okay. Shout out to the fifth one.
Yeah. But going back to the big-breasted women who do nothing in this movie, did you notice?
Are we on Total Recall?
Wait a minute. When it comes to the women, like also Brumanoff, you also got to find out that she's sterile. Like that's something that
and that's what
that type of vulnerability she never showed.
I thought Scarlett Johansson was pregnant in this movie.
No, because because Hulk says something to her like, listen, man, we can't do this when she steps to him. He's like, listen, man, we can't do this. And then in the beginning, you just like, and when I see that, I get mad at him because I'm like, damn, bro, she's fine. Why are you really gonna do that? But he's scared of hurting her, so I get that. But then she goes into this whole story about how when you become an agent, they sterilize you, so you have one less thing to worry about. And then she says, like, you're not the only monster on the team.
Because she's a monster.
But how is that showing? Exactly, because somebody else made her sterile. That makes her a monster.
That makes her. I mean,
no, but
she's a monster.
Like, no, you know what the problem is?
For her sexual.
But wait, you didn't let me finish because the reason why she's a monster is because she was pretty much just made to become a killing machine, and she got away from that. She got away from that, and now she's doing her thing, right? So now, but here's the thing: all of these things are going to be explained when Black Widow comes out because we still have not seen enough about them. What I appreciated about
the best thing about coronavirus is it delayed that movie because I am not interested in that movie. Okay,
I want to see it. I want to see it.
The indivisible. She considers herself a monster not because she's killed countless people as an assassin before she started working for Shield. She considers herself a monster because she's a woman who can't give birth to children. That's what the movie.
That's insulting to a lot of women.
No, Vic, don't even try and defend it. That's what the movie.
Y'all read too much into it. I'll defend it. That's not
insulting. A lot of women can resonate with that.
That's what she said.
She made not one mention.
It's not what she meant. Y'all reaching. Y'all
No,
reaching.
no. It's not.
Y'all reaching. Y'all gotta understand what she's saying. You gotta see what she's saying. You know what I'm saying?
So we're not supposed to listen to her words. We're supposed to somehow decode.
What are you saying?
James does it with every single movie. Don't do that. No. He does every single movie. He gets into the meaning of it.
That's true. Not once did she mention any of the other bodies that rocked up underneath all her kills. It was the fact that she was made sterile, and you're not the only monster because now I can't have kids.
No, he was trying to say. You know what? I think y'all are not. Y'all put up the shirt again. I think y'all weren't listening to what Vic was saying. I don't think y'all were listening to what Vic was saying at all because y'all already had it in your mind. No, y'all weren't because y'all already had in mind what y'all talking about. Here's the thing, right? All right. No. Let me bottom line it for you, broski. Let me bottom line it for you.
How is she a monster?
She is a monster because she was turned into the perfect killing. She was Ultron before Ultron became Ultron. All right. She had her own. She had her. You know, she had her own Tony Stark. She kissed. She kissed Bruce Banner. She kissed Captain America. She ain't want none of Tony Stark because Tony Stark.
Her whole purpose in this movie was to calm the Hulk down. That's literally all.
I feel like I'm on Fox News right now and I'm being interrupted all the time. Could y'all stop interrupting me while I make my point explain?
That's what she is. That's what she is.
Her job in this movie was to give magical hand jobs to the Hulk.
Once again, I didn't finish my explanation.
No.
No. Let me finish, Mr. Best. Let me finish my explanation. Let me finish my explanation. Let me finish. What can I finish?
Yeah, he's stupid.
Because after this, we have to get into final review. So go ahead.
All right. So look, all I'm saying is, okay, Tony Stark reminds. It's like, you know, and I'm not making a joke of the situation. It's going to sound like it because that's how I talk, but. Tony Stark reminded her of that uncle who molested her when she was raising up. Because when she was growing up, she was turned into a killing machine. A killing machine. They took her and made her a killing machine. Yes, they made her not be able to have children. They spayed her, okay? But they turned her into an assassin. That made her a monster. So when she's giving... So everybody's seen Shrek, right? Right?
Yeah.
What made Shrek no longer ogre was his girl. I can't remember her name. Was his girl. And that's... Princess Fiona. So when Scarlett Johansson's character, Black Widow, Romanoff, whatever you want to call her this week, when she decides that she wants to get beat up by a Hulk and she realizes she likes it, she realizes she's a monster too. I'm a monster too. And the only person that can help control one monster is a monster. And since I'm a monster and you beat me around, I'm going to beat you around to make you be Bruce Banner. So I see what you're saying, James. But see how I was able to twist that and turn that into what really makes it make sense? Okay.
You know what? Honestly, you know what I think?
Final review, guys, because it's running up on an hour.
You know what I think she adores about Hulk?
Chris literally said that Black Widow got spayed, right? So Chris literally called Black Widow a bitch because you spay dogs and animals. So he just called Black Widow a bitch. Yet he says that the movie is not disrespectful to women. Chris is disrespectful to Black Widow.
That's not what I said. So how all of a sudden now you reach and you find stuff that I said, but you can't do it what Victor said. What he said? I understand that.
All right, guys. All right. Chrissy, give me 55 minutes. Final reviews.
Before we do that, we need to take one last final commercial break. James, you should be ashamed of yourself. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get into final reviews when we come back after this brief message. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Guess what happened today at the shoe store?
Did a fat woman come in?
Enormous. I wish the world were a fly and I was a giant rolled up newspaper.
Here we go.
A fat woman clip-clopped into the shoe store today and said, I need something I'd be comfortable in. I said, try Wyoming. Now, I don't know when they started letting women carry chainsaws. This woman comes in, and she is so fat She actually has 3 smaller women orbiting around her.
So we go from degrading one woman to degrading everyone in that last ad. Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. Well, no one degraded any woman, and
okay.
If they didn't clip
he said try Wyoming. Yo, Wyoming is mad big.
Oh my God, yeah.
I don't know about that one, guys.
You never worked in a shoe store, that's why.
Yo, we gotta
unpopular reviews, entertainment edition. Marvel Avengers, Age of Ultron, ZDS Mark here. Getting into our final thoughts and reviews of the movie. We'll start with the Mark down there since he's not going to disrespect the women like See the Superior and ZDS did earlier. Mark, what are your final thoughts? What are your final grades when it comes to this movie?
I give it a thumbs middle because it was a filler movie. It was a filler movie.
Nah, Slim Dog. Up or down? Up or down? Up or down?
Fine. I'll give it an up. I'll give it an up. You know why? Because it's necessary to see this movie to understand the other movies.
All right. I guess I'll go. About this movie, I'm going to go ahead and give it a thumbs down because it doesn't make sense throughout the movie. The accents are bad. The plot is sketchy at best. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a thumbs down.
ZDS.
This movie stars a big-breasted woman who abandons her child at the end and gets a speedster killed. It stars a Hulk who gets a hand job. It's what? These are factual. It stars 2 Slavic orphans. It stars powers that people shouldn't have. The movie is utter trash. It's rated trash. Utter trash. What do I think of it? It's a thumbs down, obviously. It shouldn't have been made. It doesn't make me want to watch any other Marvel film. I will be crying through the rest of it. Stay tuned to watch me cry through the rest of the MCU. It's all downhill.
Okay. All right, Chris.
You're disrespectful. This movie was the lowest rated Avengers movie made, got 7.3 out of 10, which is actually still pretty good. It cost $250 million to make and made $1.4 billion. 450 of it came from the United States. So it was actually one of the lowest grossing ones in the United States. I was a big fan of James Spader. I was really anticipating this movie just simply because of the fact that I'm also a fan of the Ultron character, and I just think it was a little bit too jokey for me, and it kind of taken away from it. Plus, I thought that Ultron was taken a little too easily by a character by the name of Vision, who they had come out being such a badass in this film, yet end up being such a bitch in the later films. So I don't know what happened. Also, another part I had with this movie was simply the fact that Incredible Hulk was not so incredible as he got his ass handed to him by the Hulkbuster from Iron Man, which is just another degradation of this character. I'm not looking at you, James. It's another degradation of this character, besides what he also is alluding to, his forced romance, all jokes aside, his forced romance with Black Widow. Little known fact, Abomination was actually in the initial draft to be in this movie as a secondary villain, along with the return of Timothy Roth. I think that would actually have been a little entertaining, and I was sad to see it did not happen, but there was no space for it in this movie. As far as thumbs up, thumbs down for this movie, I will give this movie a thumbs down. It was the weakest of all it was the weakest of all 5 of the Avengers movies, and I was really disappointed. I mean, it's coming from a strong Avengers 1. This was not good. It was a little forced. I didn't even like the last battle sequence, not to mention Quicksilver dying. But just the fact that, it was just so ridiculous. Let's create a whole bunch of little small robots and have another good fighting sequence where we can pan the camera around and you can see all the Avengers. That's all that was. So I wasn't really impressed by that. And Mr. Johnson must have that's what it says, a thumbs down for him?
Yes.
It's an Apple, so it's not going to come up properly. Get yourself a new phone, Mr. Johnson there. We're team Android over here, except for the 2 people who degrade women, apparently. But that is
you? Because I have an Android.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. He has Apple. Yeah, he has Apple. I forgot. All right. So you also have an Apple too. But that is it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Briefly, let's just talk about our next movie for next Saturday after Get Out, which is on Wednesday.
Thursday.
Correct. It is on Thursday, and I'm agreeing with James. It is all downhill from there because the next movie is Ant-Man, which, I'm not going to want to talk about that one.
Listen,
better than Age of
having those powers. I think those are cool powers, though. I really do. I really like.
Vic, is there a Marvel movie that you don't like?
Yes.
All right, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it next Saturday.
There is. It's the.
Did we reach it yet? I don't remember.
Wait, what is the name?
Thor.
It's the Duck movie.
Howard the Duck.
Yes, that one.
Wow, that's pretty.
No. In the MCU, do you not like any movie
that we have not reached yet?
Oh, in the MCU?
That we have not reached yet, because I don't want to spoil it.
Wait, let me see.
No, there's not. That's the final. He likes them all.
Translation, Chrissy said you're taking too long and we're running over time. William Johnson, I see that you liked Unpopular Reviews. Thank you so much. Please make sure that you're loving, and sharing this video to all your timelines and groups. Like, love, and share, and subscribe to us on YouTube at
Yep,
ILW. It hits them. What is it?
The third Thor movie. No,
we have not gotten to.
We have not got to that one. Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Hold on, I gotta do plugs. Stop rushing. See, so if you're a wrestling fan,
do I have to do that? I don't got to do that, right?
No, you don't have to do that. Tomorrow, immediately after WWE Backlash pay-per-view, we have Unpopular Review Backlash Results Show with the insider Dylan Kaplan as well as Bad Guy Jack, and making a special appearance is none other than the wild card Stefan Dubiella for that one. So definitely take a look on that. On Monday Night Raw,
cool.
Edition, we have myself as well as Big Daddy Cool and most likely Katrina Storm. We'll talk as we review Unpopular Review on Raw. On Tuesday, we have Unpopular Review next interview edition with the global promo battle creator Tiny Hansen being interviewed by the Mark Victor Rodriguez. Definitely want to join in. Speaking of Tuesday, we have Unpopular Review, and I forgot to put in here, but it will be gaming edition with the Mark as well as the technician David Sanderson as they discuss the launch and the release and everything that you need to know as far as what's been told us about PlayStation 5, which comes out a little bit later this year with a $700 deposit for that video game system. So it's a lot to talk about there.
That makes sense. I remember when the PS2 came out, the same thing.
Yeah, doesn't make sense to me. On Wednesday, we have no shows. Wow, amazing. That's not going to last.
So maybe we should just do Get Out on Wednesday.
We can't do Get Out on Wednesday. So we have to find something. Something will come up on Wednesday, so make sure you follow us on everything UPR because I guarantee something's going to come up on Wednesday. On Thursday, maybe we'll do the Married with Children episode on Wednesday. I don't know. On Thursday, we have Unpopular Reviews. Oh, Get Out. Entertainment edition for Get Out, which I don't have up here. That sucks. But we also have immediately after NXT AEW Results Edition along with a promo battle immediately after the second one, this time between Elvis as well as Ricky, the greatest heel for Unpopular Reviews. As a matter of fact, we have a small promo for you with that one as well. Here we go. Ricky, I did play it. You're talking about your promo, and I'm not going to play that, so shut up. But I do want everybody to know that if Elvis is representing the United States, I'm really afraid for our country, even more than I already was. So that is pretty much wrapped up, of course, on Friday, Unpopular Reviews SmackDown edition with myself, as well as Bad Guy Jack and Big Daddy Cool. Thank you so much for watching us. Ladies, gentlemen, any final thoughts or final opinions or any buys you want to say, go ahead and say it now.
I think this movie did so well, and that's why they brought Joss Whedon back. Oh, I'm sorry. He went to Justice League. and Justice League was a really received well. Oh no, it wasn't. I wonder, could it be Joss Whedon? Oh, okay.
Joss Whedon also made the first Avengers. Okay, he made the first.
Yeah, and that was trash too, because nobody got shot in that battle either.
Vic, you got anything you want to
say? I like how everybody was highlighted. I like how in the end they pretty much just noted that Thanos was next. I like how War Machine was in there, Falcon was in there. There's new Avengers in there. They ended the movie with like, all right, we gotta shape them up, and they ended up with Cap and Black Widow just as like the leaders of the team. So it kind of just left you in a thing like, all right, this is what's going on next, and then with Thanos coming in and saying, all right, well now I got to do it, and that's the introduction to the Infinity Gauntlet. I like what I liked about this movie was just that if I would have seen it for the first time without knowing what's going to happen later, I would have felt the exact same way that all of you feel right now. But now, like watching it back, knowing what's coming next and seeing the little pieces put in, this is why I enjoy it. But at the same time, I like those things. So I'm going to go download Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I have a lot of questions.
You really took advantage of that final thoughts after final thoughts because you said everything that you said in your final thoughts before. But thank you so much, Mark, Seated Superior. She's just going to wait and watch.
Yeah, nothing to say. See you all next Saturday.
Wait. I'm sorry. Vic reminded me of something.
Thursday.
Go ahead, Christy. What you're saying, though, I'm sorry.
She's done. Go ahead, James.
Nothing. Bye, everybody.
Vic reminded me. They did introduce the new members of the Avengers at the end of Age of Ultron. That was interesting because all these people who weren't good enough to be on the team because there was no other choice. Now they're on the team, and each of them had this shit-eating grin on their face, like I really made it. I really made it.
I thought out like, oh my god, this is very disappointing.
Why are these losers smiling so much?
You know what? It's like. It's almost like the end of X-Men Apocalypse. It's like the B version of the real team. Yeah. That's what it was. and actually, for the Avengers, it wasn't even the B version. It was like the C version. It was really bad.
You know what? Really so on that note, I'm going to end on this: Evolve or
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching us. We'll see you next time.